In this short video, I'm going to talk about some of the selection features available in Marc's user interface, which is called Mentat. So over here, we can define any material properties or geometric properties or boundary conditions and so on. And let me go to boundary conditions, and let us say we want to apply a fixed boundary condition on this particular face of this 3D solid, and let me just rotate this model so that you can see how this looks like. So let's say we want to apply a fixed displacement boundary condition and also some kind of pressure on this particular face. And as you can see, because of the orientation, it can be harder to pick them by one, either single node, or even by what we call the box pick, or even a polygon pick, or so on. So Mentat provides a different way, a much more efficient way of selecting these nodes or element faces. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. So let's say we go to select, and I go to selection control, and here there are definitely a lot of options, and we will cover all these like in the next few sessions. So for example, we have the options of the various modes available, like you can combine the different selection options, and you can also select by using except. So let's say we select some, and then you want to remove some of elements or faces from that particular selection, you can use that, or you can invert. So you want to select everything that is not currently selected, and so on. So for this one, I'm going to leave it at the end, and if you go to method, I go to let's say single is the default, and there are also other various options. Path is another commonly used, very useful option, and in this particular one I'm going to talk about the face flood. So what face flood does is when you select a particular entity, it goes ahead and select everything adjacent to that, as long as the edge angle is less than 60 degrees. So you can see, for example, over here, if we select let's say a node, so we can select everything on this face, and here the angle is about 90 degrees when around this region, and here, so it won't be selecting anything over that. So let's say I want to select all the nodes here on this particular face. So let me click on nodes, and I click on one node, and as you can see, it went ahead and selected every single node, because that is the method that we had chosen. So it is quite simple to select everything here. And now let's say we want to define a boundary condition. So let's say fixed displacement, and let's say I want to fix all the 3 degrees of freedom, X, Y, and Z, and let me also name it, so fix everything. And now at this point we say click on this nodes add. We want to add all, we want to apply this boundary condition to all the nodes. So click on add. So once you click on that, you see these icons are active. So this particular, the first one, it says all existing. So if you want to select everything in the model, this is generally useful sometimes, especially if you want to define material properties. If you want to apply a single material property to all the elements, you can just say all existing. And the next option is all selected, and the next one is all unselected. Notice where the check mark is, so that is how we know whether you're going to select all selected when I say all selected, so those are the things that are listed over here in the selection control window. And the next two options, all visible and all invisible. So you can make something invisible, some part of the model. So if you want to select, if you want to apply material property to everything that is not visible, you can do that as well. And we'll talk about the rest in once again another session. So what we need to do here is just select. We want to apply everything that is selected to this particular boundary condition. So I say all selected, and notice that all these nodes that have been selected have this boundary condition now. So if I click on identify, so at this point we'll see any new boundary conditions that are defined. So for example, we have only one boundary condition so far, so that is identified with the color. And now let's say we want to define a new boundary condition. As I mentioned earlier, we want to apply let's say pressure, and let me say pressure, and let's say I'm going to give a value of 1. And here, of course, when we want to apply a pressure, we don't want the nodes to be selected, but rather the faces. So I'm going to leave it at face flood, and so I'm going to go to faces and click on faces, and I'm going to select the face over here, and you see all the faces adjacent to that are selected. Once again, because the angle over here is much higher than 60 degrees, so they are not selected there. And at this point I can go ahead and apply pressure to those faces. Once again, we want to apply to the selected faces, so that is why I'm going to select this one. And notice that we have this other boundary condition also defined, and you see the arrows as well. So you can see how easy it is to select different entities using this face flood option, and to apply the boundary conditions on these faces or the nodes that are selected. Thank you.